Hello, welcome to my first video of busting climate change scenarios. Today, I will talk about a video from PragerU named What's Wrong with Wind and Solar. The video starts with a question. Have you ever heard of unobtainium, which is a fictional material that is a source of tremendous amount of energy in the movie Avatar? And it goes like, there's no such thing as unobtainium. There's no source of energy that can be supplied without limit. The point of this video is that wind and solar are not like that kind of material and will never replace fossil fuel. And they give four reasons for that. Wind and solar have limits in energy efficiency. The battery cannot hold the energy produced by wind and solar. Wind panel and solar cell manufacturing destroys the environment. Fossil fuel is much cheaper than wind and solar. Let's go over the first point. Limited energy efficiency of wind and solar. Does wind and solar has limited energy efficiency? Well, the answer is yes. The law of thermodynamics dictates that all sorts of energy cannot have 100% of energy efficiency. The maximum solar cell efficiency is 33% due to the Shockley Quasar limit, and the wind is maximum 60% due to Betz limit. Wait, does it mean we can only use 33% of solar cell energy? Are we running out of wind and solar? But let's look at what the energy efficiency actually means. The energy efficiency is defined as a percentage of energy output over the energy input. But when we measure the energy uses, we use the output energy in kilojoules or BTU. So let's rearrange the equation with the energy output. The output energy in kilojoule or BTU, or the rate of energy as kilowatt or horsepower, is used when we talk about how much energy do we need or how much energy can be produced. Let me give you an example. The solar cell radiation of 1000 watt, which is the average radiation we get on Earth in square meters, and the solar cell with 26 efficiency can produce 260 watt. Here's another one. The coal worth of 100 BTU can produce energy of 33 BTU by steam turbine with 33 efficiency. Wait, does fossil fuel has limited energy efficiency? Well, of course it does. According to the Department of Energy, the average energy efficiency of coal-fired power plants has energy efficiency of 33%, which is similar to solar and much less than wind. What limiting the amount of energy we can use is actually the energy input. The fossil fuel reserves are decreasing over decades as we have been using all the time, where the nature cannot produce fossil fuel anymore. Sooner or later, we need to transit our source of energy from fossil fuel to renewable energy. It is just a matter of time. Are we going to have shortage in sunlight or wind? I hardly think so. So let's go to their next point. Are we going to have not enough battery for wind and solar? One of the challenges in wind and solar energy is that the electricity needs to be stored when it is generated. The PragerU video gives us an extreme example that is almost impossible to store that energy in batteries. They say the biggest battery factory of Tesla in Nevada will take 500 years to make enough batteries for 1 day's worth of electricity usage in the United States. I mean, if you put it that way, one of the largest thermal power plants in the United States can only supply 0.78% of total daily energy consumption. But let's put that aside. For this point, I would like to present to you the new type of battery of our future. Hydrogen. We don't need to produce batteries to store the electricity. We can produce a hydrogen fuel. The hydrogen can be produced with water and electricity generated by wind and solar. As an environmental friendly but very flammable fuel, it can be transported in the tank, and it also can be stored to be used when it is needed. Let's compare this hydrogen fuel with the fossil fuel. When fossil fuel is burned to generate the energy, it produces the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide, which makes the fossil fuel the largest contributor of climate change. In contrast, when hydrogen is burned, it produces water, just water. That is why the hydrogen is so clean. Hydrogen has been subject to be a promising future fuel since the 80s. It is proven that the hydrogen has greater efficiency than fossil fuel, is more cost effective, and definitely has less environmental impact. The only problem of hydrogen is that it burns too well, or shall I say explosive. Lots of scientists and engineers are researching to use it in safer way and more efficient way to replace fossil fuel. Okay, let's go to their third point. Does wind and solar energy really have negative impact to the environment? Their point is that the wind and solar energy takes too much materials. They say a 100 megawatts wind farm takes 30,000 tons of iron and 50,000 tons of concrete, and with the same production of energy, the solar farm needs 150% more of those raw materials. Well, let me put the fossil fuel in the same way. With the same amount of energy produced, coal thermal plants need 39,000 tons of raw materials, and let's not forget, 400,000 tons of coal per year. 400,000 tons. Now, who's talking about the material intensity? Not only the raw material used, this plant emits 8,000 tons of CO2 and 1,400 tons of methane per year, and this is not environmental friendly. Also, they point out that we need 2,000% increase in mining to produce all the battery we need, which will cost massive amounts of conventional energy and is energy-intensive industrial process. Well, we know that we got hydrogen, but let's say we need more mining. Oh no, mining is bad. We should stop mining and stop producing batteries. Wait, we are not mining just for those raw materials for batteries. What are we mining for? What are the largest mining industries? Which material comes in your mind when you think about mine? Coal. Coal has been a main material that we get from mining historically. Look at the amount of coal we're mining. We're mining over 7,000 megatons per year, and it is still increasing over years. The PragerU video points out that the increase in mining will benefit China because they have those raw materials reserved for the batteries. Well, China takes almost half of the world coal production anyway, so where's the point? Also, the video uses IRENA's report of end-of-life management and take their early loss scenario of cumulative photovoltaic panel waste result and says the plastic waste of solar cell will be the double amount of plastic waste we have today. Oh, I find it very ironic. Do you know why? Because fossil fuel is the actual source of plastic. Crude oil doesn't only have the fuel we can burn. Today, the plastic is mostly produced from the crude oil. How many percent? 98%. 98% of single-use plastic comes from the fossil fuel and is causing a lot of environmental and health problems. I strongly suggest you to visit the site of United Nations Environmental Program that addresses this issue. Please find the link in the comment. Let's look at their final point. Is fossil fuel really cheaper than the solar and wind? They say the technology is developing and the fossil fuel is getting easier to acquire and cleaner to use. Huh. And they say the cost of building one oil rig is almost same as cost of building one giant wind turbine. They say an oil rig can produce 10 barrels per hour while wind turbine can produce about 1 barrel of worth of energy. And finally, they say it costs 50 cents to store a barrel, where it costs $200 to make the batteries to store the energy. Well, actually, if you count the cost of actual drilling a rig, then it would cost more than 10 times than building a wind turbine. But let's find out what they're missing. To talk about a lot of cost, but they never mention about the cost of energy source. When you talk about the cost of energy, you should include that. There you go. For the same amount of electricity generated, how much a barrel of crude oil cost? $70. And how much does the wind cost? Zero. Of course, we need the whole cost analysis to find out which energy is cheaper, but I really wanted to point this out that they never mention the economic advantage of wind and solar. So let me go back to the start of the video. Have you ever heard of unobtainium? Can we find the unlimited source of energy if one exists? Well, I think I know one. Wind and solar is the unlimited source of energy as long as the sun shines on the earth. I really hope that we can appreciate it more and we should really take advantage of it. Thank you very much for watching my video. You can find the link in the comment and please subscribe my channel.